Continuing, it says big government and socialism has a very. Oh, I read all that, Salaki. I'm gonna reread it. That's the spirit. It says big government and socialism has a very strong appeal to the lower socioeconomic classes that are relatively content eking out an existence as long as most of their needs are covered by the government. Some people, however, want more than the freedom to not work and seek an upwardly mobile existence rather than the economic slavery that so many people have been duped into accepting. And the thing is, when you really go into the research, you got our people, I'm talking about the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans that are so duped in it too. When you take the time, like the elder Malcolm did a video about the redlining thing, I suggest every brother that's in the truth to go watch it, because at the end of the day, you will find out Esau just took a magic. It's called redlining because they just took a magic marker that was red and had a map and say, well, you know what? We're going to just draw a line through here, and these people is going to get a certain amount of funding, and these people are not. And that's why you have certain poverty-stricken areas. You know what I'm saying? So when you take the time to really meditate and think about that, that's why you got certain people. That's why you got people that sit up there and actually like just generational product. I mean, it's part of the curses. Everything is systematically designed by the Most High, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah. But at the same time, that's why you got generations of motherfuckers that grow up in the project. Projects was never designed for you to just live forever. You know what I mean? Like I say, I told you, I'm taking advantage of this right now. You know what I'm saying? But Lord willing, like he gonna bless me. He blessed me one time, but it was throughout for whatever reason, something. But when they cut that government and stop that food stamp shit and people didn't pay attention, I'm like, nobody wanted this job. I say, you know what? I'm gonna give me a job, this shitty ass job. You know what I'm saying? Just because it's simple fact, you not gonna catch me looking stupid when you do this again. You know what I'm saying? And then what they don't realize is once they really start officially pronouncing that they going to war, all that little social age. I was just on the bus through the Spirit, and last time I was on the bus, it was a bus driver talking to like a regular passenger, and they was talking about dude just so happened to mention how his mother-in-law works for Salvation Army, and basically all those extra funds is basically they won't have them next year. When Trump came into office, it takes time for anything to be implemented. When Trump came into office, he did a lot of cuts. Just because you didn't get to see, people don't realize that. That's just like when Obama came into office. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I get it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, what people thought it was going to be overnight. You know what I mean? Like, no. And then the thing is, you got federal money that trickles down to the state, and then the state go to the county, and county go to the city. So all these different departments and agencies that, you know what I mean? But so for instance, when the federal government stopped giving the state as much, like say for instance, they used to give them $50 million, but now they cut that down to $25 million. That's less they can give to the county, and then less the county can give to the city. You know what I'm saying? So what do you think about to happen? But like I say, it says in scripture, he put a strong delusion on a lot of people. But my point of going into that whole, I ain't gonna say tyrant, but at the end of the day, it's purposely set up against the Israelite man. It says freedom is not pretty and is difficult to contain. Thus, government has been trying to stifle it, leaving us with only the illusion of freedom. True freedom gives me the right to offend you. God, you know what I'm saying? And that's the funny. I will reread that. It says, true freedom gives me the right to offend you. If you really truly had true freedom, like they say, this is the home of the free. Well, I'm in a camp. You know what I'm saying? So therefore, we should be able to sit up there and speak. Now they sitting up there, they came up with the dumbest shit. Now they talk about you got to be on the move talking. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck? Yeah, but that's just all throughout that's the spirit of the Lord, because it's about to be the famine of the word. You know what I mean? And when that's what people gonna start waking up, when they gonna be like, where's these guys that used to sit up there and do that shit? And when that happens, best believe it's gonna be other shit that's gonna be distracting you. You know what I mean? But then it's gonna pop up in your mind like, well, damn, where they at? You know what I mean? Like, it's not by coincidence. But yeah, true freedom, you can say whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. How do you got true freedom when you got to go through them to actually have the right to drive? You got to actually get a passport to leave here. So how you got true freedom? But people are duped into believing they is, because Esau is the father of lies. You know what I mean? And he cold with that tongue. It says, without either one of us petitioning for legislation from the government to limit the exchange. Freedom is like your one alcoholic uncle that only comes around at holidays, drinks himself into oblivion, teases your aunt for being a lesbian, that tells you all kinds of secret stories about your parents in their younger years that are less than flattering. He gets everyone riled up, then leaves, only to be invited back again next year for the sheer entertainment value. Rather than allow our inebriated uncle his voice and tolerating his antics, we now seek Supreme Court regulations to limit his drinking, force him into treatment, and censor his speech or risk a civil lawsuit or a hate crime charge. And that was a beautiful analogy how he did that. The federal government has long used political provocateurs in the civilian world to advance the political correctness agenda. And that's the thing. Now you got this shit called toxic masculinity. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? So you gonna actually say something about a man's supposed to be rough and rugged. A man shouldn't be feminine. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, that's why women seek men. Just like a man should want a woman that's feminine. You know what I mean? It said that the women, roughly paraphrasing, the women of Zion were so dainty they didn't even want to touch the floor with their feet. You get what I'm saying? They was carried around on what's them things when you see them in the movie when like the queen or the princess. Well, queen is not the word you think it is, but the like the one brother from Man of Valor always says princesses. We princes and princesses or kings and princesses. Because when you go into that word queen, it's not what you think. But anyhow, it means a prostitute, a harlot. You know what I'm saying? But anyhow, and I told the female that through the spirit, and she still want to say the shit. And I'm like, that's why sometimes I don't be want to even talk to Jay. Because it's like, you don't want to do no. She like, well, the tense of the meaning behind it is so that therefore. And I'm like, this bitch is stupid. If you go into the word nigger didn't mean what it mean now. But now has a negative connotation. So, but it's because all your, you know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Like I say, I don't give a fuck. If I take the time to explain this to somebody, they wouldn't, you could show it to them because at the end, they didn't trick this so much. Words are powerful. You get what I'm saying? The right words can make a motherfucker. They said when Paul was speaking, riots broke out. You get what I'm saying? So, the correct words and the spirit that's on them can actually affect a lot of people and that's how you know the power of the tongue got power. You get what I'm saying? Like, you could actually have Shalakia. It says, but I went into that because of the simple fact that political correctness. Now it's toxic masculinity. What the fuck do that even mean? So you telling me that it's wrong for me to feel the way I feel as a man? Huh? But then it ain't nothing wrong with you want to try and feminize me though. Like, man, this play is retarded, man. Like, and if you fall a victim to it, you deserve to be destroyed for real. Like I said, these weak ass niggas sit up there and just act like you don't hear this or you want to, like, come on, man. Like, it say in scripture you got to stand for something or it don't say it's like that, but it basically when you go into Revelations 3:15 when it say you neither hot nor cold, but you lukewarm. You got to stand for something. You can't just be in the middle of everything. You get what I'm saying? You either got to be on this side or that side. You know what I mean? Like, eventually you're going to have to take a stand. And as much as motherfuckers don't want to, the Most High going to make you, though. Because the way that this society is, this can't continue to keep going on. How the fuck you think this going to keep going on? I mean, to show you how we truly at the end, the shit that they was doing in secret, this place has always had pedophiles and it's always been homosexuals and all that old shit. But now it's just like blatantly, openly in your fucking face. That's how you know we damn near at the end. Come on, man. Like I said, when I seen that Iran thing, I read the Bible. That's actually in the Bible. You get what I'm saying? So if you don't believe the Bible real, so what? You know what I mean? It say in the book of Romans, let me get it real quick. Because I don't want to mess it up. Because that's one of the ones I had trouble repeating, roughly paraphrasing. This is book of Romans 3:3. For what if some did not believe? And it asking the question. So it's saying, for what if some did not believe? Shall their unbelief make the faith of Yahweh without effect? So it's basically saying, even though you don't believe, do that mean it's not going to come to pass? Hell no, it's still going to come to pass. To show you how people so fucking stupid, that's why you can't even talk to. The things that's been written about in the Bible actually have. Why do you think it's like the most sought after book? Like it's the most selling, the most stolen, the most talked about but the least read. I mean, actually, the things that's in the scriptures and in this Bible, these things have come to pass. Why do you think you got people that study it? Because they waiting to see when the next thing gonna come to pass. And it's only a few more things that's got to come to pass. You know what I'm saying? Like, but if you lost in your delusion, it's because the Most High got you lost in your delusion. Salakia. I'm going to read this part. It says, the most recent governmental attempt at social engineering comes hand in hand with the Obama brain mapping program. Did not know about that. In 2013, the government announced that it's hiring a behavioral insight team to help, Salakia, to help Salakia, to help government and society operate more efficiently. I am all for the government working more efficiently, but I doubt a team of psychologists on the payroll will accomplish anything. Society, on the other hand, does not need influence from the government. The behavioral insight team will be tasked with making use of the nudge effect to make Obama's socialist policies more palatable to the general public. Nudging involves providing subtle hints to the public through major media resources to direct their decision making on a certain. Ain't that about a bitch? Nudging involves, and you know what a nudge is? That's like a slight push. You know what I mean? Nudging involves providing subtle hints to the public through major media resources to direct their decision making on a certain topic to the advantage of the one nudging. The theory is based upon the book Nudge, written by Cass Sunstein and Richard Thaler. You may remember from earlier in the book that Cass Sunstein was of Obama's Caesars and is far left liberal and known eugenist. You know what the eugenist is? I ain't gonna give you everything. Go look up what a eugenist is. Moreover, White House documents are referring to the behavioral insights team as the Nudge Squad, and over a dozen government agencies will be working with this group or groups similar. Not surprising, one of the agencies involved with the Nudge Squad is the Department of Health and Human Services to help facilitate a better public acceptance of Obamacare, which was some bullshit, because all Obamacare did was keep the society going a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, go check into it. I got a book. That's a spirit. I'll probably do a lesson about that because I found the book. I always like most High send me to places and I, always come across books. And I just found the book and it's breaking down Obamacare. So just because of that, through the spirit, if it's the will of the Most High, I'm gonna do a video on it. It's gonna tell you what like everybody think that Obamacare is. So see, it's cool for those like me that ain't working, or like the book was originally stated about, that's just on a certain level in society and the government is taking care of them. But the people that's actually working, see, the rich ain't really, especially because you got Trump in office right now, so the rich ain't really paying like that high much of a tax. I mean, they ain't paying high in taxes right now. David Chappelle told you that. And the poor is getting taken care of because, they on all the social programs. It's the working class that's getting fucked up. That's why they felt, they feel some kind of way. Let me see something. I'm going to read this part. It says, the government has long fostered relationships with private industries where new ideas and technologies can be researched and developed cheaper and more efficiently than completely within the government bureaucracy. The private industry, in turn, can sell their products to the government at a significant profit. However, at the intelligence level, this government industry relationship was taken several steps further than a strictly research and development relationship. Intelligence agencies sought out potentially useful upcoming technologies in the private sector and set about forming symbiotic partnerships with the companies in question. Most were more than happy to do their patriotic duty for a price and signed on the intelligence-based operations. Cell phone providers provided office space. The cooperation between intelligence agencies and the private sector has gotten much more complex than merely contractual obligations for a desired product or service. Insidiously, spycraft has been taken out of the sole proprietorship of the NSA, CIA, DIA, and contracted out to the pseudo civilian contractor. Private sector intelligence gathering has become an extreme lucrative business with a multitude of privately held companies battling for government contracts. And then So that's why you got like what was that Blackwater? Remember those military like that was a military contract. Like they weren't like part they were like subcontracted through the military and that was who doing a lot of that torture shit. Go check into this stuff. Like the possession of a government clearance is now openly traded on the free market with many companies actively seeking former government employees with varying levels of security clearance. The CIA has not been exempt from making excessive use of private contractors as have other agencies. It is estimated that 60% of its annual budget is spent on private contractors. Damn. I'm gonna stop there.